people come from all walks of life. They all have lives they lead. Any and all are welcome here to come and chat with me.
Hi, everybody. Well, here I am on location in Harrison, and I'm with the owner of Crystal Spirit Yoga and Healing, Elizabeth Mueller. I make lots of mistakes.
No worries.
So first of all, thank you for inviting us to do this here. This is really nice.
Welcome.
I wanted to ask you now, in your bio, you said that, you were married and you had some children living in Chilliwack. Then you decided to totally change your life and move to Germany.
Yeah, that was quite an adventure. Nothing short of an adventure. I had no skills in the language. My husband had some. The kids were young enough, 10 and 14. So, my daughter who was 14 was a little bit reluctant, and
right.
we get that. The son was like, whatever, we're just going. And we did. And we just had a really good time, thinking that we would only be 3 or 4 years, short adventure, come back. It was 14 years. So the kids actually graduated, finished school, decided they wanted to do post-secondary in English and not London. So they came back to Victoria and both finished their studies there. And then it was my husband, Frank, and I were sitting there going, our kids are a long way away from us right now. What do you want to do? And it's like, well, let's give ourselves 9 months. We'll finish up what we're doing here, and we'll go home. And we actually came back here. This house, this was his family home, was built in 1975.
Right.
So that was also just sort of a temporary thing. It's like, yeah, we'll just drop down into this house, see how it goes, and then we'll see what happens. Our kids are still in Victoria, and we're here, but we're way closer.
So, well, let's just go back a little bit. Now, you already had a business here before you left, though, didn't you?
I did. It was an interior design business, EM Decor, and, in 94, 95, the building industry took a bit of a dump. And usually we could rely on renovations and then new building, and it sort of swung back and forth. But that didn't happen really well at that time.
Right.
It wasn't what we had expected. So we just closed up. That was
quite a challenge, I would think. You knew, obviously, were you going to something? Did you have something set up already in Germany?
Well, not really. We had friends and family where we landed, which was on the east side. But my husband had already sort of transferred from the window coverings business at EM Decor to doing chips, nicks, and scratches on cars as a mobile service, which really went well in Germany. Because they're crazy about their cars.
Okay.
They're nuts about them. And so it was just a niche that wasn't yet available there. So it just ballooned, which was really good.
Very good.
Yeah.
How did you find it, like, settling in there and getting to know people? Was it easy? Did you find it challenging?
Well, because we had friends and family, it was easier. We were blessed in that way. We really had such a lot of people supporting us and finding us a place to live and that sort of thing. But I like history. So I homeschooled my kids. Mm-hmm. So that gave me a lot of freedom, actually, to just wander around and sort of immerse myself in the history, get to know places and then people. It's a little bit difficult in Germany to get to know people because,
they're not as open.
They're really not. Like this wouldn't happen as easy there as it does here.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I know you went to school while you were there, right?
Yes, went back to school to what they call the folks school. So it's like a college.
Okay.
And had an incredible experience learning German with immigrants. So my classmates were people from Egypt and Somalia and Kurdistan and China, Russia. And I had the best teacher of all. He was great. He never spoke any other language than German. And some of us had really no skills whatsoever. But we created this really great group, and we gathered for dinners, and I went to where some of the people that were seeking asylum were housed and had meals with them and created really lasting relationships that are still going on today. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, when did you start getting into yoga?
Well, yeah. What was I going to do to keep myself busy other than walking around and sort of keeping tabs on my kids as they studied? So I've always been into yoga. I have learned yoga with my mom beginning when I was about 3 years old from Corinne Zebroff. I'm not sure if that name sounds familiar to you, but she's and still alive today in her 90s in Vancouver, but really was the catalyst for me learning yoga in Agassiz, actually,
yes.
at the Kent School, where her husband was the principal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, you know what? I could probably do this. So I went to the fitness studio where we were sort of hanging out and asked the owner if he had any interest, and he just like, what? Yoga? And of course, I didn't realize it back then, but because we were on the east side, there was no exposure to sort of Western stuff.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so, my first class that I even started, and I wasn't even a certified teacher yet, was 21 people. And it's like, that just blew me right away. And then I started talking with them, and they really encouraged and supported me to get my teacher's training, which I did out of the Temple of Kriya Yoga in Chicago, which was a fascinating way to study. Traveled a couple of times there to do, in-person studies and that sort of thing. So, yeah, worked well.
So is it the yoga that took you in all of this other journeys? Like, because I know you've gone to India,
yes.
correct?
Yes,
and
many, 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 many times.
And Thailand.
Thailand and Egypt and, of course, the continent of Europe. We traveled quite extensively, and then I took students back to these places that I had discovered, and we practiced and did retreats in places like Assisi on top of a mountain,
wow.
right? Yeah, just
wow.
really special places, and on boats, Turkey. Yeah.
Now, in your bio, you mentioned something about the Dalai Lama.
Yeah, that was, how things just happen, and for absolutely no reason, you end up in the lap of some sort of experience like that. And we were in Varanasi, and we had been studying with a guru, and it was a morning study plan. So the afternoon, we headed out and went to a place called Saranath. And Saranath has the auspicious deer park where the Buddha gave his first discourse under the Bodhi tree.
Okay.
And, people go and see that. Why wouldn't you? It's an incredible story. And then just to stand there is really beautiful. And we were wandering around, and we had noticed that there was a lot of elaborate sort of decoration going up, lots of busyness. And there was an American chap that we sort of stopped and chatted to, and he says, well, I guess I know why you're here. And it's like, what's going on? And he told us, and he said, yeah, if you want to register, it starts tomorrow, and it's 3 afternoons with the Dalai Lama. And if you want to participate, all you have to have is your passport picture and a photocopy of your passport. And it's like, ooh, both of those sound almost impossible, because when you travel, you clean off clean out your wallets and, you know,
Right.
you take all of the excess. But I dug around in my wallet and I never knew, but I still had our excess passport pictures in there.
Wow.
And then we're clicking, okay, that's ticked off. That's amazing. But where are we going to find in this small dirt path village a photocopier? And we were wandering along, and we were actually heading to the University for Higher Tibetan Studies, where the discourse was going to be held. And then, lo and behold, actually, it's not surprising now, is there's out in the middle of this dirt pathway was a full-on office-size photocopier plugged in down the street and around the corner. And so that's how it all unfolded for us.
How marvelous, right?
Really, it truly was. And we were there with about maybe just over 100 people of all different languages, and it was pretty cool.
So what took place?
Well, he sat and he spoke and gave a discourse. And to get the translation, you get this little tiny transistor radio with earplugs,
Right.
and you tune into the predetermined English translation station,
Right.
and you just sit there and listen.
Okay.
And it was truly amazing. It was a discourse on the Old Mother, which is a fairly well-known Tibetan conversation and learning text. So, you know, it was sleepy sometimes, but just watching it was just miraculous, right?
Right.
Sometimes I didn't really get everything he was trying to share.
Right.
But I have the book now, and I can actually just go back and read it, and it sort of brings you back. It transports you back there.
Totally. It really sounds awesome. It really does.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering when, now you've been into yoga for a long time, but when did that become, when did you link that with healing?
It was in Germany, and I was starting to teach much more, and we made the move down from Saxon on the eastern side of Germany down to Bavaria. And at that point, I really wanted to do more.
Okay.
So I trained in Thai yoga massage, and I started offering that. And then I got really interested in Tibetan bowls. I had seen Tibetan bowls in India and was very curious about them. And then I got hooked up with the Peter Hess Institute and took my sound healing certification for sound massage. It's called Klung massage, Klung meaning sound. And I took all the 4 levels so that I could add it to my repertoire. And then I started collecting bowls and gongs.
Oh, okay. So what is sound massage? What is that?
Well, it's different than just sitting there and listening to somebody. You've probably seen or heard of sound healing treatments, but sound massage is when these bowls are actually placed on the body. For example, you're laying on your belly, and I put this lovely big bowl on your back,
Right.
and it's gently tapped, and the vibrational resonance just echoes through your body.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Now, you're also a Reiki practitioner?
I am Reiki, yes,
Reiki?
indeed. I use that a lot within my practice of sound. You know, it's a whole treatment. You know, you want to get the energetic and the vibrational treatment.
So how long is the treatment?
From half an hour, I can do a seated treatment for a half hour, and then I can do one that is an hour and plus. It all depends what we're doing and what we want to access, and people come and get longer treatments once their body sort of gets used to.
I'm just curious, is there, say, a typical type of person that comes for that? Or is it just a wide range?
Oh, gosh. From loggers to yoga teachers, and right across the board. I think what intrigues people is accessing different ways of healing and having different experiences. I think a lot of people initially come just because they're curious.
Right.
And they've heard it really works.
Right, yeah.
But the curiosity, I think, is what really elevates people to seek it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, for something totally different, so you're a reverend?
I am. Yes, I am. I'm an ordained minister with the Clergy Support Memorial. And I specifically, I do outreach. I do outreach because that's just part of how I want to give. But most of my work is doing weddings and ceremony. So I do, besides weddings, that's a big part of it. But I also do end-of-life celebrations and guided death and baptismals or naming ceremonies and house blessings.
What's a naming ceremony? I don't know if I heard of that one.
Well, a naming ceremony is done basically after a baby is born, and it gives reverence to the name that you've chosen.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, well, something new for me. Now, you mentioned the Biosonic Academy of Music.
Yes.
So that's
And sound. Yeah.
sorry. So that's to do with the sound healing, right?
Exactly. There's using basically tuning forks.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like the ones that
Yeah.
are used for tuning instruments and pianos that people know about, right?
Right. Yes.
But now they're weighted. It's a little bit different. It has a more direct impact on a injured tissue or an injured joint, bringing the direct resonance into the tissue and creating or moving it into a parasympathetic, which is a rest and restore, which often is what we need to begin the healing.
Right. Now, what I'm learning from your bios, there's different types of yoga, right? Something that's you mentioned here in your bio is that trauma-informed yoga.
Yes. Yep. As you can tell from what the whole society is going through right now is that we are becoming much more aware of the ways that we need to approach people and recognize their trauma and give them sort of a system of re-entering in to healing practices that gives them safety and lets them relax.
Right.
Right.
Do you have a website? If somebody wanted to contact you,
Yes.
you can reach you through your website?
Yep. crystalspirithealing.ca.
Okay, we'll make sure that's included in the
Absolutely.
when we put your name on the interview so that people will see
That'd be great.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Really is. It's been
awesome.
very informative. I'm kind of intrigued about this whole process. Your trips to Germany, to India, back and forth, and it's like really sounds awesome.
I was blessed. I really was blessed.
But you went for it. That's the whole thing, right?
Oh yeah. And that's right. We have these hesitations whether that comes from fear or trauma itself of something new. But that's one thing that this adventure taught me is that I'm not going to learn anything by sitting and watching the world go past me.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, very good. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to Elizabeth Mueller, and I'm going to make sure her website is included. It's certainly been a pleasure for me. And if you watch this on YouTube, you know the deal, people. Subscribe, which is really nice. Take care, and peace out, everyone.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see.